Good morning. This is Diane Moore from the Chattanooga Public Library with a plate of salad for you. I want you to eat your greens and also some oranges and reds and some other colors. I'm sort of kidding, but on the other hand, this is a plate full of edibles that you can pick right out of your garden. Now, years ago when I was a teenager, I hate to say how long ago that was, I ordered one of those scholastic books that you wait and wait and wait months for, called Tips for Teens. There was the most beautiful, elegant idea I thought ever in the world. Make your mother a rose omelet and then float a beautiful rose or two in her drink. Well, we had rose bushes all over the place that we lived in, and 2 years in a row I made my mother a rose omelet, folding those rose petals right in her omelet and floating a beautiful rose right on top of her, probably milk. As an adult, I found out that my mother said that was one of the nastiest things that she's ever eaten in her life. I asked her why she didn't just throw it out the window and feed it to the dog when I wasn't looking. She said she couldn't do that. I'd worked too hard on it. So you might consider your taste before you eat flowers, but they're a wonderful thing for decorating. Everyone knows that you can eat most herb flowers. Over here I have parsley leaves, chive flowers, which are beautiful. You can break that up and sprinkle those on a salad. These are cilantro flowers, which are incredibly beautiful. Really depends on your taste. I probably wouldn't put them on a cake, but you never know. Lavender, beautiful and edible. In fact, last Thanksgiving time, I bought a turkey, gave my husband directions on how to stuff it with herbs and onions and delicious things. And when I got home and started taking the turkey apart after we'd eaten it, and it was really good, the rosemary didn't look quite right. I asked him where he got it. He took me outside and half of my lavender plant was gone. Lavender is perfectly fine for eating. I just didn't want him to take my plant apart. On the side here I have leaves from catmint, which is perfectly edible for human beings, good for sprinkling in salads or for a tea. Pineapple sage, which is delicious infused in water, or you make a simple syrup, equal parts water and sugar. Dissolve the sugar and then you want to muddle or just crunch up and mush the leaves. Let them sit for about an hour or so and then put that into some cold water. You can leave the leaves in there or take them out as you please. It's really delicious. Here I have different kinds of, I have some rose balm too. Also different kinds of mint, chocolate mint, peppermint, mojito mint, which is actually a spearmint, chocolate mint, which I really like to make drinks with too. I've got a leaf from one of my citrus plants. I've got rose leaves. I've got a little bit of rosemary in here. Those are all things that come from herbs, and it's not unusual to think about eating those. On the other side of the plate, however, I have a marigold, I have a couple of roses, I've got pansies, I've got violas. I have plants that are not in bloom yet, but there are a lot of flowers that you can use for decorating, throwing in your salad. They're wonderful if you need to make a cake or something beautiful in a hurry. Go out to your garden. That's the important part. Go out to your garden. One of my old landlords had a flower shop and I needed to decorate a wedding cake in a hurry. So I went and asked him about flowers and he said, no, no, no. You don't want any flowers from any kind of a florist unless they're organic, because they've all been treated. So you have beautiful, perfect flowers. When you give your intended a bouquet of roses before you propose or make up for something wrong you did, you want them to look like this, not like this. Something's already had lunch with some of these flowers because they've not been treated with any kind of pesticides or anything like that. So you just want to make sure you get them from someone who grows them organically, or they're out of your own yard. Don't spray any kind of chemicals or poisons on them. There are some sorts of things like safer soap you can use, and it says up to 2 days before harvest. There's some little strawberry flowers here. Those would make beautiful decorations as well if you want to sacrifice the beautiful strawberries coming up. I once decorated a wedding cake with pansies and rosemary, and it turned out very well. It was beautiful. Another thing that you can do with these flowers, like I said, I have some that aren't blooming yet. I can't wait. But when they do come, another thing that you can do is sugar your flowers. Now these are very, very ugly. These are terrible examples. You can Google that. Martha Stewart has really good instructions. Basically what you do, pick your flower. You want to make sure it doesn't have any stem on it. So take the stem off. Make sure the flower holds together. While they're still fresh and lovely, you're going to make a solution of egg white and a little bit of water that you brush on very carefully. Then you're going to take super fine sugar. This is smaller, it dissolves real easily. You're going to sprinkle that on, shake off the excess, put them someplace where they can dry, and then you can store them in an airtight container. I used to keep containers of those around for decorating emergencies. However, my daughters and my nieces and nephew discovered them, and they would eat them all up. Pansies, violets, violas have a really delicate flavor. They don't taste strong like roses or magnolias. Ew. These are very ugly, and the reason they're so ugly is I did not have superfine sugar. I tried to put regular sugar in the blender. No, didn't work very well at all. Also, you want to make sure that they're fresh when you do it. Don't pick them and then put them aside, because what you get are flowers that are kind of dried out. If you do it right, they're beautiful. Done it before. This is a good lesson in using the correct kind of sugar and doing this while the flowers are still nice and fresh. And I'm going to read you kind of a list so I don't forget anything of all the types of flowers. Well, some of the common flowers, there are more that are edible for you. Marigolds. I've got a vanilla sort of a marigold right here. They come in all sizes, all colors. And watch out, sometimes when you're trying to buy saffron, people will put marigold leaves in instead because saffron is so expensive. Of course, those are edible too if you can afford them. Marigolds, roses, nasturtiums. You can eat the leaves of the plant, of course, as well. Balloon flowers, balsam. Some people call this rose balsam. This is a plant that your grandmother probably grew. Some people call it rose balsam. It's the precursor to all the impatiens that we buy now. Calendulas, coxcomb, some people call that celosia. So there's those sort of velvety looking flowers that come in weird shapes, look like brains or coxcombs or something like that. I'm not sure you would want to eat them, but they won't hurt you if you decorate with them. Cosmos, dahlias, dianthus, honeywort, hollyhock, hyssop, phlox, of course. If you grew up in the Midwest, then you pulled apart those phlox like children in the South do with honeysuckle, eat that drop of nectar. Sunflowers, of course, zinnias, violets I already mentioned, dandelions, and then of course all those lovely herb flowers. Borage, cilantro, radish, dill, chives, thyme. The list could go on forever. Now I know that in your yard there are many beautiful things that are poisonous. My raised beds, this is just food. You don't have to worry about your vegetables and things like that. Although in every yard you're going to find things that are poisonous. That is so true. My daughter and I went on a trip up to Tony A. Vance's Plants Delight Nursery, and he took us out into the woods where we saw the same hemlock that Socrates was poisoned with. And he said, "Here you go. This is a toxic, poison, terrible thing." And he said, "I want you to know that your yard is full of poisonous things. Daffodils, ooh, I've got some of those killer daffodils right over there in a big pot, dying down for the summer. Woo!" He said if you really want to poison someone, tomato leaves are a good way. leaves can be used as sort of an insecticide if you're into making your own insecticides. However, he also said that most poisonous things taste so nasty and so awful that it's going to be a rare day in the neighborhood when your child or your pet is going to eat enough of it for you to have to worry about or take them to the doctor. So just remember that. 2 things. Don't eat florist flowers. They've been sprayed with pesticides, so they look like this instead of somebody's leftover lunch. And then just make sure that you've Googled it and you know that it's something that's edible and it's not going to hurt you. There are so many choices, so many beautiful flowers. And remember that the next time someone says, oh my goodness, can you bring a dessert? Or oopsie, we're getting married this weekend, we need a beautiful cake. That you can throw on some gorgeous flowers from your yard or your neighbor's yard or Crabtree Farms or some other place and make something glorious and beautiful in no time at all. Enjoy your flowers, have a wonderful day, and be safe.